Good in situational football. They're ranked highly on third down, ranked highly in the red zone. Um, so they've done a great job. They have some of the best players in the game, and they've always respected their scheme. Obviously, it's a tough place to play. So, the utmost respect. It'll be a great challenge for us.
Kirk, what do you kind of remember about that dramatic comeback you steered down there last season at Seattle?
I remember it being a tough game, hard fought, back and forth. Our defense played really well and kept us in the game, and then we just made enough plays there at the very end to be able to come out with a win. But it was amazing how they also kept fighting back, and even when we scored with only a few seconds left, they still got the ball to midfield and had a chance at a Hail Mary. So that team with Russell as the quarterback is always in it, and no lead is safe against them.
Was that one of the comebacks you maybe pride the most in your career? I mean, you took them down the field in like 35 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, I don't really rank them or worry about all that.
Hey, Kirk, you started against them in 2014 and obviously last year. How have you seen that secondary evolve over the years in Seattle?
Well, when we played them in 2014, I don't know that any of that secondary will be playing on Monday night. So how have I seen it evolve? It's completely evolved in the sense that it's all different players. It's the same scheme in a lot of ways. They obviously have changed coordinators, but I think ultimately it's still a very good defense. They still play with the same passion and energy that they always have played with, and it's still a difficult environment to play in. So in that way, it's the same, but certainly different personnel and a few different faces.
Yeah, how loud is that crowd for an outdoor stadium, and how difficult does it make the calling signals with that crowd?
I think it's probably the loudest in the NFL. I don't know if the numbers back that up. It's the actual measurements, but it would seem to be the loudest in the NFL, and I think they've earned that over the last decade and a half.
Go back to college. You and Russell played some crazy close games and tight games, the Hail Mary, the Big Ten championship. What do you remember about those matchups against him?
They were all great games, and in big part because of what he can do as a quarterback. Certainly two in college that were two of my more memorable games and more exciting games I ever played in. And then in the pros, played him in the playoffs. I didn't really play much, but played in the playoffs my rookie year, and then again on 14 on Monday night, and last year, and then now again on Monday night. So hopefully it can be another exciting one, and I'm excited to see what we can do.
Were you able to get to know him a little bit after college?
Well, the time I've spent with him really has been, training for the draft and then being teammates at the Senior Bowl. So we spent roughly a couple months from the end of the college season to the combine. We spent a lot of time together, and that's when you could see, not only his ability, which you obviously saw from a distance when we were playing against each other in college, but just his work habits, his intelligence, his leadership and command, and you could see all the traits that have enabled him to go on to great success in the NFL. So I think all the guys who trained with him there in Florida when we were together are not surprised by what he's been able to do. And Bobby Wagner was there as well, training with us. So, there were a lot of good players there that you then end up coming across as you play in this league.
What makes Wagner such a difficult player to account for?
Well, I think he's the total package when you talk about being a smart player, being instinctual, athletic, playing fast, doing a good job recognizing plays, recognizing what the offense is trying to do. He's good against the run, good against the pass, a good blitzer. So he's probably, I think I told him this after the preseason game, one of the best, if not the best, linebackers in the NFL. And I think he was the NFC Player of the Week defensively last week, and rightfully so. He's playing at a high level, and that's what I really expected from him when we played him in the preseason. I expected him to have a great year this year.
You run the ball, balance, all this stuff. Where do you sit on that as a quarterback? Do you have a lot of input? Do you get a feel for the game that's different from a coach and everybody else? How does that come together when they need to run the ball more, they need to do all this stuff? Where do you sit on that? How much input do you have?
I'll speak up from time to time, but I'm not banging on the door every single day or every single week, telling them what to do. I stick to my job and let the coaches do theirs. I want to run the ball effectively. I want to run the ball successfully. So anytime we're doing that, I'm all for it. I certainly don't want to, have a lot of wasted plays running the ball for no gain or for a loss of yards, or, we don't want the penalties, the holding calls that end up crippling drives. So I'm all in favor of productive runs, and however we can find those and get those, even if it means I run a little bit. And even in the drop back game, maybe I can take off and run a little bit. So, whatever we can do to run the football is a good thing. But at the same time, it's all about winning, and we've found ways to win this year in other ways as well. So just looking for ways to move the football.
Kirk, how much tougher does it become to get those productive runs against a team like that with just the gate in the box?
Yeah. When teams load the box and when teams have shown they can really stop the run, then it is a challenge. And you see sometimes a team who knows that they're going against a stout front or a really good defense, they don't even try to run the football. They just say we're not even going to play into their hand. So it's all about your approach and how you want to handle it. But certainly it can be a numbers game at times, and if they have 8 men crowding the ball, the math would suggest it's not in our best interest to run the football.
How much could you see like more outside zone play, especially in the run game, like affecting that to where you're not getting bottled up there and things are forced outside?
Well, I mean, again, it's all about individual blocks and everybody doing their job. We had 3rd and 1 against the Patriots, and it was a loaded box, certainly, because it was 3rd and 1, and we ran outside zone. All right, and Dalvin had to cut it back up, and it didn't get anywhere. So just because you call outside zone, and in theory you're saying we're going to get outside of all that, it doesn't mean you will. So you just have to execute. You have to make the blocks. You have to stay penalty free. You have to there's a lot of pieces that have to come together for any one play to work. And many times, with everybody loaded up in the box and you run it right at them, right down the middle through the A-gap, you get the yard you need. So it's all about, getting what you need in the situation.
I know you tire of the weekly big game question, but even Mike Zimmer said this might have a playoff feel, this game. How do you look at this game for playoff positioning?
Well, the way I see it, and I may be wrong, but the way I understand it is that if the season had ended after this last week, we'd be in the playoffs. I think we'd be the 6th seed if I'm correct. So we're in if it ended today, which means all the work we did through OTAs, training camp, preseason, regular season, it comes down to 4 games. And it comes down to the other teams that are in the hunt, the other teams that are fighting for their division title, whoever has the best 4-game stretch. It doesn't really matter what happened before. If a team goes 4-0 or 3-1, they're probably going to be in. And the teams that go 2-2, no matter what they did before, the teams that go 2-2 probably won't. And it's a 4-game season. So, I think the math would suggest that 4-0 puts you in the playoffs. 4-0 gives you a chance to win the division. 4-0, would be preferred. But I think 3-1, the math may still get you in. So what's important is that we are the team among the teams that are in the hunt that sits back at the end of December and says, of that 4-game stretch and of those teams that were going on that stretch, we had the best run. And that's what it's all about. So the stretch for us starts in Seattle on Monday night. It's a tremendous challenge, and I'm really excited to see this team perform over this 4-game stretch.
They're playing big games on the road. Everybody kind of talks about how much tougher that is. Is there something that actually makes that tougher, or is it a little bit of a placebo where you just tell yourself, we're on the road, it's going to be harder and it becomes something like that?
Hard to say. I think noise is certainly something you factor into your plan and the way you have to communicate, and it can certainly create a challenge, and I'd rather play at home than on the road. That being said, it's still 11 on 11, and you've got to execute. And if anything, sometimes the hassle of the road is the travel. We'll get back at 6 or 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning, and so that's certainly different than playing noon at home. I don't know that it's a placebo effect, but it certainly can be dealt with if you're a mature football team who can communicate well.
I think back in OTAs, remember you describing a play, a red zone play, where it was pointed out to you afterward that Kyle Rudolph was open and didn't look like it immediately. It's sort of part of getting to know the process.
Yeah.
Just now that you've had X amount of meetings with him, what do you appreciate about how he helps you as a quarterback?
Well, I just go back to his hands. He's also a very smart football player. Those are probably the 2 traits that stand out. Is his intelligence, his awareness, and then also the quality of hands. I mean, when the ball's in his general direction, he catches it. He brings it in one way or another, makes the tough catch. So that's a trait that I really appreciate, and he's proven it time and time again. So I'm excited to just continue to put the ball in his general area and let him bring it in.
Kirk, when you have a linebacker that is so dynamic like Bobby Wagner, what type of challenges does that present for an offense?
You got to block him, you got to protect him, and you got to know where he is when you drop back and he's in coverage. I mean, those are the challenges. So, if you don't block him, if you don't pick him up in blitzes, and if you don't know where he is when his zone drops, then he's going to have a great day, and you're not. So those are the challenges. We got to be aware of what he can do, and then do our job to try to limit the difference he can make on Monday night.
Kirk, have you ever heard Adam mention his stats or ask for the ball?
I mean, he's gonna ask for the ball, because he feels like he can help us win. I mean, I think it's unselfish of him to ask for the ball, because he's saying, I'm only asking for it because I feel like I can help us win when the ball's in my hands, and it'd be hard to argue with him. So he's gonna ask for the ball or have ideas of how he can help us from a team perspective. I don't think he talks a whole lot about his stats, but I don't know if anybody in this locker room walks around talking about their stats.
Receivers in this league over the years have been known what their numbers are, and how unusual is he in that regard?
I think what's unusual for me about this team is that truth. I mean, the fact is, yes, Adam doesn't make it about him. Adam doesn't say, I got to get mine, and I don't care if the team wins. But I would be doing a disservice to the rest of the locker room if I made it about Adam. Diggsy doesn't do that. Kyle doesn't do that. Dalvin doesn't do that. I just could go on and on. I would say the same about other units and other players, because these guys just want to win. They don't have agendas. They don't care how we go about winning, and that makes it so fun to play with them, to quarterback the team. And that's why I say when we have a good locker room, when I like our group, that's one of the reasons.
Last couple for Kirk.
Do you have any thoughts on just the Redskins? I mean, losing 2 quarterbacks this season and everything that's going on there?
Yeah, injuries are tough in this league, and I think anywhere across any team, you can point to injuries being a big reason why a team has struggled at times, because when you don't have your best players out there, it can be difficult. And continuity is a big part, too, in this league. So when you don't have that continuity, it can be tough. But I think that can be said for a lot of locker rooms.
You mentioned it's a 4-game season now, essentially. Is there another gear that this team has there that you would like to see get to?
Well, another gear isn't the way to word it, because that would imply that we didn't have that gear the first 3 quarters, and I certainly don't want to, acknowledge that or even entertain that. But to say, can we catch fire? Can we, hit our stride? Can we be more consistent? Can we start achieving at our potential more consistently? Yes, I think that's what we're looking to do. I do think that we can point to some times throughout the year where we've underachieved, not because we weren't, giving effort or preparation, but we just haven't been able to sustain the level of potential in this locker room, play in and play out. And I think that's what we're challenging ourselves to do in this final stretch of 4 games is bring your absolute best to the table, fulfill your potential every play, every game. And if we do that, let's see where we are at the end of the month.
Has that kind of reared its head in the inconsistency of late? I mean, it's kind of been win one, lose one, win one, lose one, of late.
Well, I think that's what we're saying. We're talking about that because of what's happened and because of the body of work, feeling like we've shown we're a really good football team and can do some great things and have a lot to be excited about, and yet have still dropped a couple games here and there and made some mistakes that get you beat. So the consistency at a high level of play is what we're looking to do here.